Right, Pilates in the attic. I'm going to go through some of the basics for the Pilates Plus sessions. That's because it's always handy to have something to refer to, isn't it? And also, if you are new to this, then again you've got something to refer to and get started. So the first thing is, why Pilates? Pilates is great if you want to improve your posture, if you want to improve your balance, if you want to improve your awareness of your body, if you want to improve your flexibility, mobility of the joints, stability of the joints, if you want to improve strength and coordination. And when you do all those things, you often find that you get benefits like less aches and pains. You tend to stand just better. That helps you with your breathing, you get a better breath down deep into the base of the lungs. When you use it as part of a cardiovascular, if you've got an exercise program where you do cardiovascular work as well, that complements really nicely. But also you can use Pilates approaches in a lot of exercise. So again, even in Pilates, when you take it a little bit further on, you could get your heart rate up as well. There's some principles within Pilates: breathing, concentration, control, centering, precision and flow. So when we're talking about breathing, as you get more into it, you coordinate your breath with your movement. But when you're starting out, I think the main thing is actually breathe. And that might sound a bit daft, but you often find people holding their breath as they're concentrating on doing an activity. So the first principle is breathe. And we want the breath to be relaxed. We want to be slow enough so you can start to sync it with your movement. We don't want it really fast, and we want it down into the base of the lungs. Now when you breathe, your diaphragm or dome here descends down, and that means your tummy will expand, and as you breathe out, your diaphragm lifts and your tummy lowers. So oftentimes I say oftentimes, quite a few people do breathe up here. If I'm feeling a bit anxious, a bit stressed, a bit like this, my breathing comes up here and I breathe hold. I get tense around the jaw and I'm like this. So my awareness of this is much better having done activity and exercises that help me realise that. So I would say with Pilates and a lot of activities like Pilates, yoga, Tai Chi, all of these activities, they help you bring an awareness to yourself, not just when you're doing your exercise, but beyond that. So breathing, we want the breath down deep into the belly. So we're just going to do that now. So you can do this sitting, you can do this standing, you can do this lying down, but we will do it throughout a class. So you might find it easy if you put your hands on your tummy. And ideally what you want to feel is this rise and fall of your tummy, rather than up here. Breathing. Now, if you're really in this habit of breathing up here, it might not be so easy just to switch. Practice. And sometimes we'll probably do a session on this all on its own, but allow your mind to focus down here, rising or falling. Relax into it. If you try too hard, that's when this happens and you start breathing up here. So, breathing. First thing, do breathe. relax jaw, neck, upper body, you're more likely to get this deep belly breath or diaphragmatic breathing. That's what it's called. Concentration. We think about what we're doing, we're aware of what we're doing. You can do exercise in front of the TV, you can do it while you're busy thinking of something else, but Pilates has a meditative quality when you focus in on what you're doing. That way you'll be able to develop your awareness of your body, you'll be in tune with what your body's saying to you, and you'll get more out of it. And when you concentrate, when you focus in on what you're doing, you will add that meditative element to exercise, which is really beneficial. The benefits of focusing on one thing rather than trying to be busy multitasking, the benefit is truly calming, and a real compliment if you are developing your ability to be mindful and developing your ability to meditate. Control, yes, control. So we are controlling the way we move. We think about the qualities of movement. How we control the arm, for example, whether it's straight, whether it's a soft movement. We will talk about arm floats rather than, oh, I've got to lift my arms. Arm floats. We're using a different control. We are in control of how we move, and we're developing that. Centering. Well, centering is very much around what's happening in this section in the pelvis. I often have thought of this as like the keystone. So much is important about how this part of our body is positioned. But when you're thinking of centering, what I want you to do is approach it with a softness. Sometimes we stand with very much sort of with our hips forward, not our shoulders, with our hips really forward. We might be really overarch. We might be over tucking as well. I want you to find a balance and a base with the pelvis that feels right. We're not exaggerating the movements, and by excessive muscle tension and bracing is a soft balance where you find a midpoint that feels balanced and comfortable and right for you. Some people have a very natural lordosis or curve of the spine, lower spine, and to put them in what might be a super neutral position, when you look at it, it's too much, it's exaggerated, it's not right for them. So we have to find this control in the keystone area in a way that's right for you. Precision, well, that fits, doesn't it? The precision, the finding what's right for you, the comfort, being able to adjust yourself into a position where, yeah, that feels right, that feels balanced. Precision, the right amount of muscle activity. With some of the exercises, parts of you are being very active while other parts of you are totally relaxed. So, for example, if you do one of my favourite exercises, which is the roll down. When you're doing this roll down, these arms, they just hang there. They're just completely relaxed. The head here, that's not doing anything right now. If I'm overactive in the neck here and lifting up, that's not what I want. I want my head to just relax out. So it's just a hanging, relaxed head, not held, relaxed. Okay? So that's the precision, and then we've got flow. So we're not talking jolty movements or erratic movements. We're controlling the movements. Okay, we're playing with speed, for example, if we're doing a balance activity. We're playing with speed. You can do it quicker, but only do it quicker with flow and control. Okay. Where do we go now? Yes, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to take you through alignment in the standing, alignment and sort of a warm-up prep in standing. So I really like to start off with connecting the feet to the ground. So wriggling those toes, it's like burying your feet into the sand, yeah? Really feel your feet grounding, flexible, yeah? Just loosen things off. I've got my feet hip width apart. Classic way to find that is feet together, 10 to 2, bring the heels into parallel, yeah? Maybe a little lift in the arch if you need to. If you're dropping right in, you might want to lift a little bit. But remember, this is within what's right for you. Some people have knees that do drop in a lot. Well, you're not going to go all the way into that straight position. That would be unnatural for you. Equally, some people are a little bit more out. Again, we have to work within what feels right. So the idea being is that if you drop in your knees a lot, can you reduce it a little bit? Okay? So you're working toward that alignment, but not forcing it in that alignment. There we go. Just be aware of how your weight is on your feet. So if I give you a side view, are we rocking forward onto our toes? Are you rocking all the way onto your heels? We want to explore that. And you might be aware of how your body makes little adjustments as you rock back and forward. Now the thing is, you might be thinking, well, I can't feel anything. I don't feel any adjustments. Don't worry about that. Because the more you do this, the more your awareness of your body will grow. So I want you to find that midpoint, that point where you're not all on your heels, not all on your toes, but you're in the middle. Equally, you can go side to side. Side to side. And again, you might feel, as you go side to side, you might feel a little adjustment going on here. You might feel a little bit of adjustment of the muscles, just more activity, relaxing, more activity as you go side to side. And again, we want to go to the middle. Some of us, this is a habit of mine, that, okay? Just helps you become more aware of how you control your body. Into the centre. Now knees are soft. We're not bending them. We're not locking them straight. You see what happens to my body as I lock my knees. Rocks forward, pelvis tilts forward. I actually feel uncomfortable in my back when I do that. It's soft. They're straight, but they're not locked. Then we're going to go and look at the pelvis. I'm just going to bring my arms up so you can see the movement. You might feel a again, that's just because you're not used to doing it. Only do these movements within what you feel comfortable with. Okay? So if you're tucking in and it feels a bit stiff, that's fine, keep going. But if it's painful, then I would just stop. I would stop before that, okay? So the caveat with all of these videos is that you do these activities knowing that you actually have the green light to do so in terms of health. If you've got any concerns about any musculoskeletal problems, any other health problems, consult with your GP, therapist you're working with. You can also contact me. Okay. But the rule of thumb is you work within what feels comfortable. I want you to feel easy and free, you know, just comfortable. Rocking back and forth. And then I want you to find a midpoint. Now, if I go into a very strict neutral, up about there, yeah, I can feel my tummy muscles working quite hard. Okay. I might want to just relax that a little bit. If it feels too forced, if it feels too braced. Okay. Now another section I like to look at is this the upper back midsection, lifting back and forward. And as I'm doing that, I'm only lifting back and forward this part of my rib cage, upper back. I'm not bracing everything, I'm not sort of holding everything still. It's just this area that I'm creating activity. Everything else stays still, but in a way that's not forced or braced. Okay, and again into midline. Don't want that. This is the Sacasbuds position. Okay, standing tall in the midline, not forced out, not dropped down, in the middle. Shoulders. Now I often say with this, imagining you're polishing your back with your shoulder blades, big round circles. And when I do the classes, you can often squeeze another millimetre or so forward, another millimetre up, another back and down. Really big circles, big circles. Now you can go both ways. I often emphasize the going back though, simply because most of us do a lot like that. Okay, so I focus more on this. And we want a sense of the shoulders being open. Okay, the shoulders being open, like that, rather than tight in this part of the shoulder girdle, and open feeling. And automatically, as soon as you change your shoulder girdle, it will influence how you lift your arm. So for example, if you're like this is how high I can lift my arm comfortably. There. Any further, it's just blocked. I'm just going to stand upright. I'm not forcing anything, I'm just standing upright. There. If you don't believe me, try it. So, neck. The classic posture, gravity, feeling tired, Sacasbuds, shoulders come forward, head comes forward, okay? So what we're doing is letting the body come upright and the chin naturally levels, okay? We're not forcing it into this chin tuck, we're not forcing it back, we're just letting the chin be level. And one of the expressions someone told me ages ago was put the chin on its ledge, its little ledge. So lengthen. If you have a ponytail, it's almost like you're being pulled upward. Okay. And again, have a think about what's worth knowing is that some of us have little tilts to our neck. You know, we walk around and that's our little habit. We have our head tilted one way. That's exaggerated, but let's just have a little look at those tilts side to side. Next time you're walking past a mirror, just have a little look and see if you have a natural tilt. It's not a problem, it's just what you do. But you might find if you have a little tilt to one side, you might find that side tends to be a bit tighter. So it's quite nice to give it an alternative experience. Improve your repertoire of movement by tilting to the other side. Another nice movement to do in warm up of the neck is just to do midi roll downs, rolling your chin down, just curling down, neck curls coming up. Again, only do this as far as you feel comfortable. Chin down and back up. Okay. So that's a lot to think about, isn't it? Feet, forward, back, side to side, pelvis, soft knees, rib cage, shoulders, head, neck. Sometimes it's really helpful just to think of just an image, just the image, or our word, our thought that just helps you. I just think tall, lengthen, up. And actually now I'm so used to it, my body just knows what I want it to do, and that's repetition. You don't even have to be doing this physically. You can, if you're sat on the bus, you can practice it. Okay, practice it as mental rehearsal will also help as well. Okay, so we're in our uprights. So I'm going to talk a little about monkey squat. That's a classic exercise for us, the monkey squat. So you want a slightly wider stance, where it's about shoulder hip width, and we're just going to, what we do here is better with a side view actually, is it's like you're going to sit down. Can you see how my lower leg is still vertical? I'm sat down, coming back up again. Now, proper side view, so you get to see it without me twisting my head. Now, I'm going to twist my head just so I can look in the camera. Here is kept its neutral position. Okay, the shoulders are relaxed, but they're not rounded. Again, the back's kept its neutral position, and I'm looking down, so the neck's kept its neutral position. What's moved is the hips and the knees. Now I like to add this with the arm floats, bringing the arms up. And this is a fairly classic, well, it is a classic Pilates exercise, not fairly classic, it is. As you do this movement, your awareness is, have you shifted your weight over to one side? Are you dropping your knees in? We want the knees facing forward as much as is right for you. We want the shoulders open, lifting. Okay, you can do little mini ones as a warm-up, and as you get more into it, you can go deeper. And you can play with the quality of the movement. So with this, you can let the arms float up. You can bring the breath in. So you can breathe in, breathe out. Breathing out on the way up. You can play with a sensation of pushing the floor down with your feet. So you're pushing through the floor. You can play with movements of pulling and a sensation of pulling. So as you come up, arms lift, and now pull the arms down. Bit of weight training without weights. Okay, that's a lovely one to do. Now balance, single leg balance. There's always a bit of balance work within a Pilates class. So just standing, both feet in your alignment. Peel the heel off one foot. Feel how your body's making that transition as you lift. Only go as far as is comfortable. What we want you to do is practice what you can do well. So example is, if I can lift my leg up here and I've got a nice long body, nice and tall, nice and balanced, nice and control here, and I've got my control. Good. I lift up, I've still got my control. If I then start lifting up higher, and the only way I can get that lift is by doing this, I am now doing the wrong exercise. So if I keep repeating this, that's what I'm going to learn. Okay? So what's important here is that we exercise and do activity within our level of control. Now for me, if I'm lifting up and then any higher I'm going here, then this is the area that I'm going to hover in. That's the area that I work in just a little bit. And slowly, slowly, I get my control. Okay? And the same here. Now, here I've really shifted over. I can see myself in the camera. I'm on quite a soft ground mat here. Now, barefoot hard floor is easier. The softer and spongier the ground you're practicing on, the harder it becomes. And having a camera actually is a really great tool for just seeing how you go. So lifting up the leg. And we can do all sorts of lovely complicated things, coming up and down. We can do this sort of walking very slowly as part of our balance. But they're some of the main points to think about when you're doing balance. There are different positions. With Pilates, there is what we call 4-point kneeling, and we'll do this in another session. Okay, 4-point kneeling. There's also the crook lie, I've done a video on constructive rest position or comfortable rest position. We also call it crook lie, like this. So that's another video that I'll be doing, that you can look at the alignment and things to consider in these movements. But I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the beyond Pilates. So in the Pilates Plus sessions, what we do is we always set our intention before we start. So we take a moment, check in with ourselves. We might do a body scan, just so we're aware of what's going on in our body, what's going on emotionally, what thoughts is going on, and also bringing ourselves into the exercise with the right intention. Okay, so we're not distracted by everything else. We're coming with the right intention. We're building the right state of how we want to be to get the most out of the exercise and activity. You can take Pilates and the principles of Pilates into everyday movements. If you're ironing, hoovering, vacuum cleaning, washing the car, all sorts of things. You can bring this quality of movement into everyday activities, and that's when your Pilates and your awareness of movement really, really takes off. You can apply it in other exercise. So again, if you're in the gym, if you're doing some sort of, I don't know, body pump or something like that, again, you can bring some of those elements in to your exercise there. In Pilates Plus, we do other movements. We do Qigong breathing. We might bring in some lovely movements that are taken from Tai Chi as well, and experiment with the quality of those movements. And at the end, we will do some relaxation and guided meditation as well, just to set you off for the rest of your day, or to relax you for the rest of the evening into a good night's sleep. So I hope you've enjoyed that. This is sort of the basic guide to Pilates, maybe a reminder for you. It might be brand new and a nice introduction. We need to then look at the other postures of 4-point kneeling, being on your hands and knees, and lying on your back, and also we can look at sitting, but I do have a video on control of the pelvis as well in sitting that you might want to have a little look at. So I hope you enjoy that, and yeah, see you soon.